Welcome back to Crime Stats Daily. I'm Kim. Let's go. What if I asked you, what is the most dangerous hour of the day? What would you say? Would you guess midnight? Maybe 2 o'clock in the morning? Or would you say that violent crime can happen at any time? Most of us have an opinion, but opinions aren't always supported by the data. Every day, millions of Americans go about their routines without thinking twice about the clock. What if the time on that clock mattered more than we realized? Today, we're going to examine crime statistics, law enforcement research, and national reporting data to answer one simple question. When is violent crime most likely to occur? The answer may surprise you, not because it's a magical hour, but because it reveals a pattern that most people never notice. So let's take a closer look. America doesn't stay the same throughout the day. Every morning, cities wake up, businesses open, school buses begin their routines, commuters head to work, and millions of people begin another ordinary day. And by afternoon, shopping centers become busy, offices are full, and neighborhoods are active. Then, as evening arrives, restaurants fill with customers, sporting events and concerts begin, and entertainment districts become crowded. These daily changes create different environments and different opportunities for crime. The question is, at what point does the risk begin to increase? One of the biggest misconceptions about violent crime is that it occurs evenly throughout the day. It doesn't. Researchers consistently find that violent crime follows recognizable patterns. Morning hours generally experience fewer violent incidents. And as the afternoon progresses, incidents begin to increase. By evening, the trend becomes much more noticeable. Understanding that pattern is the first step towards understanding the risk. Crime doesn't suddenly occur, it gradually increases as the day progresses. So, when does the risk actually reach its highest level? The answer isn't one exact hour across every city in America. Instead, crime data consistently shows a pattern. Violent crime generally increases throughout the evening before reaching its highest levels during the late evening hours. The exact timing varies depending upon the city, the crime being measured, and the data being analyzed. That's why it's more useful to understand the overall pattern than to memorize one specific hour. Knowledge isn't about creating fear, it's about making informed decisions. So, why does violent crime tend to increase later in the day? Researchers have identified four major factors that often work together. So, let's take a look at those. The first is more people. As the workday ends, more people gather in restaurants, shopping districts, sporting events, concerts, and entertainment districts. The more people who interact, the greater the chance that disagreements, confrontations, and other conflicts can occur. The second factor is alcohol. Alcohol does not in itself cause violent crime by itself, but it is frequently present in assaults and other violent incidents. It can lower inhibitions, impair judgment, and make tense situations escalate more quickly. The third factor is darkness. As daylight fades, visibility decreases. Fewer people may be around to witness an incident, and some offenders may believe they are less likely to be seen or identified in darkness. Darkness changes the environment, and that can influence criminal behavior. And finally, there's opportunity. Late night businesses, parking lots, entertainment districts, and crowded public spaces create more opportunities for certain types of crime. More potential victims, more activity, and more movement naturally increases the chances that criminal incidents will occur. So it's important to remember that none of these factors alone causes violent crime. Instead, they work together to create conditions where the risk tends to increase. Understanding these patterns isn't about living in fear, it's about recognizing when risk is generally higher so we can make smarter, more informed decisions. The day of the week also matters. Violent crime occurs every day, but weekdays versus weekends do matter. Many cities experience higher levels during weekends, particularly Friday and Saturday nights. Why? Well, because weekends typically bring larger crowds, more nightlife, more alcohol consumption, and more opportunities for interaction. These are the reasons that law enforcement agencies often schedule additional officers during weekend evenings. These aren't guarantees. They're patterns that appear repeatedly in crime data. Understanding these patterns helps both law enforcement and the public make better decisions. So, what can we do with this information? The purpose of this episode isn't to make anyone afraid. It's to help people make smarter decisions, more informed decisions. A few simple habits can reduce your risk. Be aware of your surroundings, especially in unfamiliar areas. Stay in well lit locations whenever possible. Limit distractions from your phone while walking. And instead, in fact, while you may want to keep your phone handy in case of an emergency, make sure you're not engaged with the phone. Be very aware of your surroundings, what's behind you, what's in front of you, and what's on either side of you. If you're spending time in a busy entertainment district, try to travel with friends whenever you can. And always trust your instincts. If something doesn't feel right, leave immediately. These are simple habits, but together they can make a meaningful difference. Crime prevention often begins long before the crime ever occurs. And here's my final thoughts on this episode. Today, we asked a simple question. What is the most dangerous hour of the day? The data gave us an interesting answer. Rather than pointing to one exact hour, it revealed something even more valuable. Violent crime follows patterns. These patterns change throughout the day. They generally increase during the evening. Weekends often present additional risk. Understanding these patterns doesn't mean living in fear, it means making informed decisions. Knowledge doesn't eliminate the risk, but it can help us recognize it. So, thank you for joining me on another episode of Crime Stats Daily. If you found this episode helpful, please like, follow, subscribe, and leave a comment below with another crime statistic that you'd like us to investigate. I'm Kim. Until next time, stay informed, stay aware, and stay safe. And I'll see you in the next episode.